Good evening. This is my chapter 12 content mastery, and today I'll be explaining, first of all, the stages of the new product development process, and then each step and what is occurring each step of that. And then, secondly, I will explain the diffusion process and why this process is important for a marketer to understand. And then, lastly, I will explain the PLC in detail and include the stages and the sales, profits, competition in each stage, the overall purpose of the PLC, and how it can be used. So, first of all, let's get started with the new product development process. So, this process is essentially a uh, a map that companies can follow to create a successful new product, and it can be outlined in a bunch of different stages. I picture them as 7 stages. So we got first, idea generation. This is where the whole thing begins. This is when companies gather ideas for this new product from sources like they can use customer feedback, they can look at their competitors, they can get insights from employees, or just use their marketing research to gather these ideas. And then the overall goal of this step is to create a large pool of potential ideas for the company to use. And then second, screening. And in this stage, the marketers kind of evaluate the ideas in the pool and then filter out the ones that don't fit as well to the company's objectives. And this separates promising ideas from like the more impractical ones. The third step is the concept development and testing. And this is where the ideas that have been selected are then turned into actual product concepts. And this is where the product gets a detailed description. It gets assigned to like a target market, and it's kind of like given its own benefits. And this step helps marketers refine the idea and help make it feasible to more feasible to enter the market. The fourth step is business analysis, and this is where companies analyze whether the product will actually be viable from, a logic standpoint and a financial standpoint. And they can look at like projected sales, they can look at costs, profits. Um, they can look at those to make sure that the product can generate a good return on investment for them. Fifth stage is product development. This is if the analysis is all looking good, product looks good, then the idea becomes a tangible product. And in this step, the company will create prototypes, conduct some testing, and kind of refine the product design even more to meet the standards that they have. The sixth step is test marketing. So before like a full launch of the product needs to be introduced to a more small, limited market to see how it performs and how they react to it. And from this, then marketers can gather feedback and identify like the potential problems that it would have, and then kind of adjust like the pricing or the marketing promotion strategies from there. And then lastly, the last stage is commercialization. And this is where the product is finally launched on a large scale. And this is where you're fully producing the product, distributing it, introducing the full marketing campaigns, and then kind of just monitoring the product on the side to ensure that it it's succeeding in this market and industry. Next, let's talk about the diffusion process. And the diffusion is pretty much how a new product spreads through the market over time. And this process involves different types of adopters. So we have innovators, we have early adopters, we have early majority, late majority, and then laggards. So innovators, these are first people to try the product. They are the ones pretty much taking the risk and are most of the time more knowledgeable about new technologies to enter the market. And then next we have early adopters. These are the ones that follow the innovators and help influence the broader market, help get it going. And then next we have early majority, and this group adopts the product um, if they actually see that has value and that it's reliable. And then fourth, we have late majority. These are the customers that are more skeptical and kind of only adopt a product after it becomes mainstream. They kind of want to like see it first before diving right in, take less of a risk. And then lastly, laggards. These are the last group to adopt, and they oftentimes resist. Um, they're more hesitant to jump right in. They're more hesitant to change, more traditional. They aren't the ones that are taking the risks, essentially. Now, finally, let's move on to the product life cycle, or PLC. And this is describing the stages that a product has to go through from its introduction to the market until it eventually declines. And it's brought up in four main stages. First of all is the introduction stage. This is kind of categorized as the product launch phase. So this is when sales are typically low, profits may be in the negatives due to kind of like marketing costs, and since the product is just being introduced, like in the name. And yeah, competition is more limited, and the main focus is just creating awareness of the product and then kind of stimulating the demand. The second stage is called the growth stage. This is when sales start to increase more rapidly, the profits are rising, uh, the competition starts to intensify, start gaining more competition, and companies have to look at this and continue to differentiate their product from the competition, and they may have to begin improving some of their features or expanding distribution to a wide variety of places. The third stage is the maturity stage, and this is where, sales are peaking, the growth is starting to slow, the profits may even decline a little bit because competition is really fierce in this stage, And this might also lead to companies having to reduce prices or increase their marketing expenses to try to keep on pushing along, try to increase that peak. And the goal of this stage is to defend the market share and extend the product's life as long as possible. You don't want your product to die out, and seeing that in this stage, companies see that their product is kind of at its max, it's going to eventually decline. It's hard for companies, and this is probably a rough spot to go as a business owner, rough spot to be. Um, Not as rough as this last stage, which is the decline stage, though. This is when, eventually the sales and the profits fall due to the market saturation, due to customers changing their preferences, due to new innovations. So, in this stage, companies must decide whether to discontinue the product or reduce their costs or just find ways to revive this product since it's not looking so good. It's declining. And so, yeah, in summary, the what we talked about, the new product development process, the diffusion process, and the product life cycle all work together to help marketers understand how products are created, introduced, adopted, and overall managed over time. Thank you for watching.